Tonight, Washington is gripped by a legislative showdown that could reshape the nation's future. The air is thick with anticipation as lawmakers, journalists, and citizens alike await the fate of a bill that's been called historic, controversial, and transformative all at once. At the center of the storm is President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, a sweeping piece of legislation that's become a defining moment for his administration and a lightning rod for debate across the country. This ambitious proposal rolls together permanent tax cuts for individuals and corporations, a significant expansion of military funding, and some of the deepest cuts to social programs in decades, all into a single high-stakes vote that leaves little room for compromise. Supporters argue it's a bold path to prosperity, promising economic growth, job creation, and a stronger national defense. But critics warn it could devastate the nation's most vulnerable, widen inequality, and send the national debt soaring to new heights. After a razor-thin victory in the House, the bill now faces a tense and uncertain battle in the Senate. With the July 4th recess fast approaching, lawmakers are under intense pressure to make a decision that could define their careers and the country's future. At its core, the bill would make the 2017 tax cuts permanent, inject billions more into military spending, and dramatically reduce funding for programs like food assistance, Medicaid, and housing support. Changes that would touch nearly every American household. The debate is fierce and deeply personal. Will lower taxes and less regulation unleash a new era of prosperity, or will millions lose access to healthcare, food assistance, and other vital services? Economists, politicians, and families are all weighing in, each with their own vision for America's future. The outcome of this legislative battle will shape America's economic direction for decades to come, influencing everything from Wall Street to Main Street, classrooms to construction sites. As we break down the details of the bill, one thing is clear. The stakes for American families, workers, and communities couldn't be higher. The decisions made in the coming days will echo for generations. The bill's centerpiece is making the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act permanent. This move aims to solidify the tax cuts that were initially set to expire, ensuring long-term financial planning for businesses and individuals alike. Supporters argue this will give businesses the confidence to invest and hire, keeping the U.S. competitive. They believe that with permanent tax cuts, companies will have more capital to expand operations, innovate, and create new jobs, ultimately boosting the economy. But independent analysis shows most benefits flow to the wealthiest Americans. 60% of savings go to the top 20%. This disparity raises concerns about widening the gap between the rich and the poor, as the middle and lower-income families see minimal relief. Critics call it a giveaway to corporations and the rich, with little relief for struggling families. They argue that the policy favors those who are already financially secure, leaving behind those who are in dire need of support. The Congressional Budget Office warns this move could add $2.4 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. This significant increase in debt could have long-term implications for the country's financial health and future generations. The bill also includes a $10.7 billion tax break for private credit funds, drawing fire for favoring Wall Street over working families. This provision is seen as a direct benefit to financial institutions, further fueling the debate over economic inequality. Opponents say these provisions deepen inequality and threaten funding for essential services. They worry that reduced tax revenue will lead to cuts in critical areas like education, healthcare, and social services, which are vital for the well-being of many Americans. The question remains, who really benefits from permanent tax cuts? As the debate continues, the impact on different segments of society will be closely watched, with many questioning the true beneficiaries of this policy. The bill targets Medicaid, proposing strict work requirements for able-bodied adults. Supporters say this will promote self-sufficiency and reduce government spending. Critics warn millions could lose coverage due to bureaucratic hurdles, not unwillingness to work. Experts project over 5 million Americans could lose Medicaid by 2034. The bill also lets Affordable Care Act subsidies expire, making private insurance unaffordable for millions more. Combined, these changes could create a surge in the uninsured, reversing years of progress in healthcare access. The debate: will these policies encourage work, or simply leave millions without care? The bill slashes $287 billion from SNAP, America's main food assistance program, over 10 years. It expands work requirements and shifts costs to states, making it harder for millions to qualify for help. Supporters say this promotes personal responsibility. Critics argue it will drive up hunger and hardship. Many SNAP recipients already work low-wage jobs or face barriers like lack of childcare or transportation. Cutting SNAP would force families to choose between food and other essentials, with food banks unable to fill the gap. The human impact: millions could lose benefits or see them drastically reduced. The question, is this reform or a recipe for rising food insecurity? Supporters claim the bill will revive U.S. manufacturing by making business tax cuts permanent, arguing that this will give companies the certainty they need to invest in new equipment, expand production, and hire more workers. They believe that by lowering the cost of doing business in America, the bill will help domestic manufacturers compete with overseas rivals and bring back jobs that have been lost to globalization. Provisions like 100% bonus depreciation are touted as catalysts for $400 billion in new investment and 73,000 new jobs. Advocates say these incentives will encourage companies to modernize their facilities, adopt cutting-edge technology, and ramp up output, making American factories more competitive on the global stage. The goal is clear: bring supply chains home, reduce reliance on countries like China, and strengthen America's economic security. By reshoring production, the bill aims to protect critical industries and ensure that essential goods are made in the U.S. But critics say the real problem is a shortage of skilled workers. Over 400,000 manufacturing jobs are unfilled. Even with new investments, factories can't run without enough trained employees to operate advanced machinery and manage complex processes. Demographic shifts and cuts to worker training programs could leave nearly 2 million jobs vacant by 2033. The manufacturing workforce is aging, and fewer young people are entering the field, raising concerns about who will fill these roles in the future. Immigration crackdowns further shrink the labor pool, undermining the bill's goals. With fewer new workers entering the country, manufacturers may struggle even more to find the talent they need to grow. Critics argue you can't revive factories while cutting off the workforce they need. Without addressing labor shortages, tax incentives alone may not be enough to spark a true manufacturing renaissance. The promise of a manufacturing boom may be more complicated than tax policy alone. Real revival could depend on a broader strategy, one that invests in people, skills, and a sustainable workforce for the future. The numbers are stark. Over 5 million could lose Medicaid, and 4.2 million more could lose ACA coverage, nearly 10 million uninsured. SNAP cuts would mean millions of families lose food assistance, forcing impossible choices between meals and rent. These aren't just statistics, they're families facing medical debt, skipped meals, and financial crisis. The bill passed the House by a razor-thin margin, revealing deep divisions even among Republicans. Public awareness is low, but early polling shows strong opposition. Disapproval outpaces approval 2-1. The stakes are enormous. The bill could reshape the social contract for a generation. For many, the risks are immediate and personal. The debate is about more than numbers, it's about the future of American families. For working families, the one big beautiful bill could mean losing health coverage or food assistance, real immediate impacts. A single parent might lose Medicaid due to new work rules. An elderly couple could see their food budget slashed. Supporters promise prosperity through tax cuts, but critics warn the benefits may never reach those who need them most. The risk vital services disappear while promised jobs and wage growth fail to materialize. The Senate's decision will define America's priorities: robust safety net or market-driven solutions. For millions, the outcome will shape their health, security, and future. As the nation watches, the stakes for Main Street have never been higher.